Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Bill Schapaugh, professor and soybean breeder with K-State Extension, is joining us now. And Bill, as farmers are out planting soybeans across the state of Kansas, it's always good to remind people about some of the rules about planting saved soybean seed. What are some of the notes that producers need to remember when they're getting ready to plant their soybeans?
Well, in terms of saving seed from production for 2016, the main rule is that farmers need to make sure that they have the permission to save that seed and plant it again in 2017. That's the basic recommendation that I can give. I can't tell you based on the variety or whether or not it's public or private, whether or not they can save that seed. There are a number of intellectual property rights tools in place to protect varieties, and farmers are just going to have to check with their seed supplier and find out what their rights are.
And especially using the example of the first generation of the Roundup Ready soybean technology is off patent, which means there are some changes there that growers need to be aware of too.
Absolutely. Okay, Roundup Ready 1, the patent on that trait, on that gene expired last year, 2015. But that patent applied to that trait, to the Roundup Ready trait. There are hundreds, there are thousands of soybean varieties that have been developed with that trait. Those varieties also can be protected under different types of intellectual property tools. Although the patent expired, and that had implications in terms of the tech fee or the royalty that was collected on that. That just because it expired, a farmer or producer cannot conclude that they could save seed of the variety, the Roundup Ready 1 variety that they're planting in 2016.
And Bill, if soybean producers do plant some of those without permission as far as the saved soybean seed, what kind of problems can that cause down the road?
There's litigation that could be imposed by the owner of the variety and fines, and that has been done in the last couple of decades. So it should be very easy for a producer to find out whether or not they can save the seed, but you can't assume. If it's a Roundup Ready variety, one variety, you cannot assume that you can save that seed. If it's a conventional soybean variety, you cannot assume that you can save that seed. If it's a public soybean variety, you cannot assume that you can save that seed. You're just going to have to find out what rights are and what are the expectations of the people that have developed and are selling that seed.
That is Bill Schapaugh, professor and soybean breeder with K-State Extension Agronomy Department. He joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. After the break, let's join Kyle and Cale again for more about the Hesston Corporation.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.